Hey everyone, welcome to Shimmer Girl Talks. Today's topic is a topic that I have discussed multiple times over online over the years. And this is a topic that I'm going to give a disclaimer for this video. And I typically don't like to give disclaimers because I'm of the mindset that if it's not pertaining to you, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Because I don't, spend time going on other people's platforms and trying to convince them one way or another. I'm just going to assume, that's not my tribe. I listen to what they had to say, moving on. So I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with my point of view on this, and that's fine. I just ask that disagree with me in a mature adult manner. I'm just I had a feeling people might read my title. I haven't titled this yet. And they're going to run with the title without listening to the video. And they're probably going to come in guns blazing and then attack me and call me names or whatever. So I'm just going to, just let it be known now. I'm not going back and forth with anyone. If I get called out of my name or what have you, you're going on block. Plain and simple. So I have definitely listened to other people's opinions when it comes to the topic of reparations. And I just recently listened to Phillip Scott. His check him out. When you have a chance. He's one of the ones that would, call me a name, but I do enjoy his content, so I'm gonna let him slide, on that. And the reason why I say he's one of the ones that would call me a name is because when I was listening to his commentary about reparations, he was saying anybody that's against reparations for American Black people are anti-Black. Even if you are Black, you're anti-Black racist or something like that, he said. And that could not be further from the truth. I try to think about the future and how things happening now can affect the future. And I'm going to try to tie all of this together. And with our community, a lot of times we think about the past and we think about the here and now. We don't really think about beyond the now. And that's, kind of a problem for me. So I remember years ago, the topic of reparations came up for, Black people across America. And I remember somebody accusing me of being not Black because how could a Black person, stray from the herd, so to speak? We are all expected to be a group mindset. And if you deviate in any way from how the majority of Black people think, then you are a coon, you're not Black, you're a house ninja, whatever insult that people want to give you. But at the end of the day, I'm entitled to my opinion, you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm just, giving food for thought. Another thing is you have a segment of people in this country that is just itching for a race war. And I'm not going to call them out because you already know who they are. They're itching for a race war. And if reparations were to go down, it's going to cause more problems than it's going to cure or whatever. And one of the things that Philip Scott said, and some of the people, the content creators that I've listened to who are for reparations, they make good arguments. And I've heard those arguments and they're valid, for the most part. I would not agree necessarily with reparations for slavery because, like, a lot of the arguments are no one living today was a slave nor slave owner. Now, I completely understand that the descendants of slave owners benefited and they're benefiting today. I get that. Um, the reparations, I'm going to discuss the reparations that I would be okay with. But I'm going to start off with this one story, and hopefully I remember to post the link. Sometimes I'll say that and then I end up not being able to find the link, but I should be able to find this link. So back in October of 2022, there was the 37-year-old Black lady by the name of Karen Ivory, went into a Target store in Blue Ash, Ohio, and she put $1,000 worth of merchandise in her cart. And then she went to management or whoever to demand that she get all of that for free. She considered that her reparations, and she considered this her Rosa Parks moment. And as you would imagine, one thing led to another. Security was called. She ended up following security back to his domain, his office or whatever. And he punched her right in the face, knocking her onto the floor. And that leads me to another topic that I'm going to segue off into really quick because I've discussed this before. In movies, I noticed that Black women are the only race of women that I see in movies being punched in the face, like punched in the face by men. Other race women don't get that same treatment. And I'm not saying, the women of other races in movies might get shoved, they might get slapped, whatever. I'm not saying that's right either. So please don't come at me with that I'm advocating violence against women, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the difference that I see in how Black women are treated versus women of other races. So this woman was literally punched in the face by this man who said that he felt threatened. And that just irritated me to no end. She had no right walking up on that man like that. But at the same time, in this day and age, ladies, with all of this, I'm equal to a man and all of this stuff. Like I said, you're going to start being treated like a man. And if men feel like they need to punch you in the face to, hey, you're equal, but that's not me. I'm not the one that's saying all of that foolishness. So that's one reparation story. And I wanted to say this about that real quick because it would be the same no matter how much money. So, okay, so let's say the employees in that store caved and gave that woman $1,000 worth of merchandise that she didn't work for. She got it for free because she was a Black person in there whining and crying and feeling entitled. Okay, that $1,000 worth of merchandise is going to be used up, ate up, or whatever, just like that. And what do you think she's going to do? A light bulb's going to go off and she's going to be like, oh, okay, then I can go back to the store again and demand $1,000 worth of merchandise. And these suckers are going to give it to me. Or I can go to another store and demand $1,000 worth of merchandise and these suckers are going to give it to me. Now, I know nothing of this woman, absolutely nothing, but I'm going to assume, and that's exactly what it is, assume that she is a single mother. She has no husband for covering. And a lot of times, you have a lot of Black women, particularly single Black mothers, they think that we're picking on them, we're dissing them, we're bashing them, when all we're trying to get young women in particular to understand that having a husband is much more than finances and making your body feel good and stuff like that. Having a husband is a covering for you. It's protection, it's provision. And I'm willing to bet, unless she was married to a bum who had the same type of mindset, if she was a decent woman married to a decent man, she would have never went into the store doing something like that. So switching gears, I want to talk about the $5 million plan for every eligible Black person in San Francisco, reparations. Now, I'm going to tell you the reason why I don't agree with reparations. By me saying this, it does not mean I'm negating what our ancestors went through. I'm not negating what each of us have gone through. All of us has been the victim of racism at some point in our lives. If you're a Black American, you've dealt with racism. You've been called the N-word to your face. I have, at least 3 times, to my face. So this is not about me, oh, well, you have a silver spoon and you're not worrying about the rest of us. It don't have nothing to do with that. Like I said, I'm thinking about how this is going to eventually, I think Dr. Umar said it much better than I would ever be able to articulate it. And he worded it in like, if Black people were to get reparations, for example, the powers that be, the people in government or whatever, they're very strategic in the way that they think. Yeah, they might would give Black people reparations, but they're going to do something to tank the economy somehow, and that money is not going to mean anything. And we already see the American dollar falling by the wayside. That's something that's completely different from this reparations talk. But there would be something that would tank um, the economy somehow, and that money would mean nothing. And another thing, studies show that money remains in a Black community for about 6 hours before it goes right back out of the community into the pockets of big corporations. And I would like to also say that in our community, it's not so much money, because I'm talking about American Blacks. We are $1 trillion or so a year community. What we do with that money is what makes the difference or not make a difference. So I want to say, one of the arguments that I had years ago about reparations, and I see other people saying the exact same thing. I said, okay, so let's say, for the sake of argument, every eligible Black person gets $1 million. Uncle Sam gets his half or whatever, so that leaves $500,000. I'm speaking in general terms. So again, I'm going to put that disclaimer up. You can disagree with me, but call me out my name or whatever. I'm not going back and forth with you. You're going on block. Okay. Obviously, this does not apply to all Black people, but there is a large number of Black people. You know it, I know it. They're going to get that money and it's going to be spent on Jordans and Gucci and pricey liquors and, accessories for cars and Hellcats and all of that stuff. Is that money going to go back into the community to fix up dilapidated houses? Most likely not. Is that money going to go to their children's schools to help out with the teachers? I don't know if you guys remember, but quite a few years ago in Detroit, students were asked to bring, I think, their own toilet paper to school, and everything that children would need for school, they had to bring it to school. Because what happened was you had people with their hand in the pot stealing the money instead of that money going to the children. So I'm saying all of this to say, after that money is spent up on frivolous things, those same people who don't know how to make good life choices, they're going to be right back in a couple of years with their hand out. That money is spent. Well, it wasn't enough. I don't have a house. It wasn't enough. I don't have a car. My kids, they're in, there a lot of them are going to spend money on clothes where their children are going to grow out of in 2 weeks. There's this saying, and I know I'm not going to say it right, but years ago, what is it? If you teach a man to fish, he can fish all day or something like that. But if you're giving him, when you just constantly giving people stuff, they don't know how to work for what they want. And after a while, they will feel entitled to what you have that they didn't have to work with. And to give an example, when I used to work in this doctor's office years ago, and this wasn't even about black people, these were immigrants. And 99% of them were on some type of welfare or Medicaid. They were the most entitled people that you can imagine. And I noticed that the people that had actual good insurance that they got through their job, they were easier to deal with. They were very like pleasant, and it's a word that I want to use, but they weren't demanding. They did not feel entitled. But the people that didn't have to work for their insurance, very entitled. And that's the way I view the whole reparations thing. Now, I don't want to forget my train of thought. Now, like I said earlier, I don't necessarily agree with reparations for slavery, but I might would be on board to a certain degree for reparations for, like, in the past 100 years where black men lost their lives due to lynchings. Because, the police and the government was all involved in that. That was somebody's father, grandfather, uncle, brother, somebody's husband. These were men that would have bought um, a paycheck to the home, and they lost their lives senselessly. Places like Black Wall Street and other black cities like that ended up being burnt to the ground by white mobs and stuff like that. Yeah, now I might would be on board for reparations for something like that. Another thing that I would be on board for reparations would be, instead of giving like lump sums into individuals' hands, I would say, like, and see, and this is the thing, even giving it to like schools and stuff. You have people in those schools that's going to be sticky fingers, and that money would end up disappearing, and the students still don't get the money. So when the Bible says that money is the root of all evil, it is so true, because it is. Because even the company I work with, corruption, a lot of money involved, there's corruption. And I would be okay with, like certain cities across the United States where there are dilapidated homes and stuff. Build up those homes, let low income people in there. Again, given schools in less advantaged areas, money for supplies and new equipment and stuff like that. But here's the problem: you have to have people in charge who are trustworthy. Because, like I said, the money is in our community, even without the reparations. The money is in the community. There's a mindset in our community that keeps us at the bottom rung of society across the board, across generations. So I truly hope that I got all of my thoughts out about that. Um, and one last point, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong about the San Francisco and the reparations, but look at how they're letting San Francisco go down the tubes. No one can convince me that that is not orchestrated. That's my opinion. Yeah, I might be wearing a tinfoil hat and being a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but that is my opinion on that. And as always, I know I didn't get everything out that I wanted to say, but just let me know what your thoughts are. Are Black people owed reparations? Are you for it? Are you against it? And let me say, of course, me being Black, if they were to implement that, I would benefit from that. But at the same time, I'm thinking about long term. I'm thinking about the fact that our community is in desperate need of healing from the inside out. No amount of money is going to fix what is going on in our communities right now. It has to be a mindset change. And that's the way I look at things. This is not a thing of like dissing my community. And that's the problem with our community. You have to agree 110% or you're a coon. You're not down with the black community or whatever, other insult that they want to level your way. But that is my opinion. That's my video for today. I hope you made it this far. Please check out my other videos before you subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.